Salute, salute everybody. Greetings, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to the chat. Oh Lord, hold on, y'all. Of course, I got feedback. Hold on. Okay, let's get it together, Kim. Let's get it together. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Peace and blessings. Thank everybody for being here. We got a good one today. I hope everybody's day is starting off nice and strong, full of positivity, right? We got, let's see what we got in here. We got Miss Coffee, brewed content. I like that, especially for those coffee drinkers. But welcome, welcome. We got Brown Eyes 45. Shalissa, that's me. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Hey, Tashana, we in the house. I'm going to drop the link. Give me just 1 second. I got you. I got you. Bolo, hey, babes. Good morning. Good morning. CX, salute to you. And we got Kelvin H in the house. Definitely. Thank y'all for being here. We're going to jump right into it, y'all. And so basically, we definitely have in the title, it reflects definitely what we're going to be talking about in relation to can, elders receive correction from the younger generation? It's going to be an interesting topic of discussion because I think there's various takes and perceptions on how to perceive relationships between elderly and the young. And then we're going to have two additional beautiful women on the panel to be able to give their perspective and their personal experiences and testimonies. And hopefully, during this live stream, we can come to some type of common ground where, of course, we're solution oriented. If y'all can put a one in the chat if my volume is okay, a two if there needs to be adjustments, or you can just type it in the chat. I just want to make sure before we get off into it that the audio is clear, right? So, hey, DJ Memphis, welcome. Thank you for being here. We got Slimpic Pete in the house. One, okay, we good. All right, appreciate it. So, Tashana, and if Miss Yo is ready, I have dropped the link. Feel free to hit the link anytime y'all are ready, and we can go off into the topic. And so, I look at until they do, I just kind of want to, give a little bit of context to the topic, right? As far as what I think. And I think there has been established over time a lack of communicate or a gap in communication between the older and the younger generations, right? And so when you have a lack of communication and you've got people being born during different eras and different time periods, not to mention all of the other variables, different geographical locations, there's so many different things that contribute to you being an aboriginal from the culture that you were raised in, right? So with that being said, if we don't establish and keep communication, it's gonna get lost, and there's not gonna be that connection there. So, oh hey, Miss Tashana, let's go ahead and add. Good morning, peace and blessings to you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
All is well. All is
Can you
well.
hear me?
Yeah. You seem a little low, but we can make out what you're saying. I'm wondering if
Turn
it's
some volume up on it.
okay. Let
What
me
about
put
now?
mine up. Okay, say something.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay,
I don't
that
know
might
because
have
I
been
done
what I.
turned mine up all the way.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You're
You can
good.
hear me now.
Definitely. Yep.
I think
Yep.
there's a little bit of a. I think it's a little bit of a delay.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let me drop you down and bring you right back up and see if that takes care of it. Do you want to try
Okay.
that? Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's try it. We're good. Hey, what's going on? Got my ladies on the panel this morning. We're gonna have some good discussion. I think this is a needed topic. And if nothing else, we get perspective, you know. Greetings, Miss Yo.
Greetings, everyone. I hope all is well. Hello, Tashana.
I hear an echo. Does anybody have anything on in the background? No.
Let me see. I think I have 2 StreamYards open.
Okay, I don't know how that works.
How about now? Maybe because I had 2 StreamYards open, maybe that's.
Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. But are you still able to? Is it possible that you can still do it and turn it down? Will that work or no? Like the volume on it, Tashana?
So my volume is still low?
No, your volume is fine, but there was an echo, and you said you did something with the other StreamYard, but I want you to be able to stream it. It's just I'm asking if you can turn down the volume.
I had two StreamYards open, so.
Gotcha. Okay, so you only needed the one? Okay.
Oh no, I don't have
You're streaming.
Let me see.
See, we need to learn how to do that, Miss.
How about now?
No, you're fine.
No, I'm not.
Fine. Whatever you did earlier, fix it.
No, I don't know how to stream.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, then I was logged into 2 StreamYards. That's what it was. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine. You're fine. All right. So listen, the topic again is, can elders receive correction from the younger generation? So if anybody has any intro that they would like to add to the conversation before, we've got a couple of videos that we're going to play. They're very short clips just to kind of be able to kind of jumpstart the conversation and give some continuity to the topic to keep it flowing during the live stream and to kind of bring in different perspectives. So you ladies have the floor.
All of this came about. My thought process was, I have a lot of people who I talk to, and they're dealing with this issue. And along the lines of, it's how do you move along with the elderly in your family when they continue to disrespect you? How do you deal with those situations? So I'm finding myself having a lot of it from where I am, which is wanting me to have conversations with other people. How to talk about this and how to work through those things, and how do we deal with those situations, when we in them. So.
Okay, then let me get in here. All right, now look at it. Hey, how everybody doing? Hey, chat, what's going on with y'all? I hope y'all having a good day. Tashana, I had heard a little bit of feedback when you was talking, so it was like a little lag going on with you. So let me just break this down to you. One day I'm around the house doing my thing, and the old girl Tashana gave me a call and was like, hey, yo, thoughts, look, I got something I want to talk to y'all about. I want a subject where we can get together and we can discuss this thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm sure Miss Akima will be on board. All we got to do is give her a little call and we can put this thing together. Now, this was a couple of days ago, right, Tashana? Right? In between there, we've been going back and forth with different things,
yes,
trying to get this thing going. So now that we're here, let's talk about it. On you, Mr. Kima. Ready, set, go. Let's get this thing going.
So this is what I'm going to do, because Tashana, I'm not sure what's going on with the connection, but let's do this. Let's remove you. And I'm going to drop the link one more time and let's try it again, because there is a delay. And if we can kind of, take care of that issue right at the beginning, I think we'll all be able to flow a little bit better. So, all right. Give me okay. So she's moved down. Let me go ahead and drop the link again. Give me one second, Miss Yo.
I'm going to go on mute while y'all handling that, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Hey, Russell Red, salute to you. Thank you for coming in. Indeed, indeed. And anybody else that's coming in, peace and blessings to you. All right, so she should. All right, let's try this one more time. We got you. Say something, say something, say something.
Okay, is it better? I look like I'm frozen. Is it better now?
Yeah, look like it's trying to kick in. I think we're good.
Okay,
Okay, so
I
all right.
refreshed.
Well, okay. All right. Yeah, I think it's better. So all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and start the first video and then we'll just kind of go from there. If that's okay with you ladies.
Let's go.
Okay.
Uh-oh, hold on a minute, y'all. Okay.
If younger people listen to older people, then they would move faster in the younger world. But if older people listen to younger people, they will also move faster in their world. So I feel like it's very important for everyone to listen to each other because everyone has their own stories. They have different experiences and you can learn from those experiences. Us younger people, they should listen to older people too because not only have they been on this earth longer than you, but they've also experienced more challenging things than you, or they have experienced things that are no longer here. Older people should learn from younger people too because there's some things that we know and there's some things that we can share so that we can all learn. If younger people listen to older people, then they would move faster in the younger world. But if older people listen to younger people, they will also move faster in their world. So I feel like it's very important for everyone to listen to each other because everyone has their own stories. They have different experiences and you can learn from those experiences. Us younger people, they should listen to older people too because not only have they been on this earth longer than you, but they've also experienced more challenging things than you, or they have experienced things that are no longer here. Older people should learn from younger people too because there's some things that we know and there's some things that we can share so that we can all learn. If young
Right. So that was a mouthful. I think I heard she put it very eloquently, but I think I also heard the similar sentiment from KRS-One, where he just kept saying, you know, we can just learn from each other. That's the bottom line on it all.
I agree. What's up, Sean? Are you frozen? You're not. Is she frozen?
No, I don't think so.
Something's going
I
on.
don't know what, for whatever reason, something's happening. Go ahead. Don't let it stall you out.
Okay.
I know.
No.
But the devil over here.
Now let's go to the I agree with the young lady, but can we go to the next video too now? And then because we pretty much, I think we all agree with this young lady that we can all learn something from one another, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Hold on, y'all.
Okay.
Normally it would give me the option to switch the tab, but it didn't do it that time. So give me just a second. Okay.
I wanted to talk about elders. Elders are so valuable. Elders are libraries filled with wisdom. Elders are vessels for wellness. Elders are griots. Elders are everything. A wise person once said that there's a difference between an elder and an older. There is a certain level of couth, a certain level of peace, and a certain level of wellness that an elder has. Just because someone is older, it doesn't make them an elder.
I like that. Just because somebody older does not make them an elder. And I think for me, being on this platform has brought that to the light of day more than anything. Just because you're older does not mean that people will or need or
Absolutely.
should.
Well, hopefully y'all can hear me better now that I've changed. I got on my phone on StreamYard instead of on my computer. I have no idea what's happening.
Much better. Yes,
okay,
loud and clear.
I'm on the phone instead of the computer. And I'm sorry, I just missed almost everything that y'all was saying, trying to get this situation under control. I apologize, you all.
Okay, so we'll start it over once more. He didn't say much. I stopped it. So let's
Okay.
just from there. Okay.
So, y'all, while I'm in the car, I wanted to talk about elders. Elders are so valuable. Elders are libraries filled with wisdom. Elders are vessels for wellness. Elders are griots. Elders are everything. A wise person once said that there's a difference between an elder and an older. There is a certain level of couth, a certain level of peace, and a certain level of wellness that an elder has.
I think that's a good place to stop.
Hmm.
What you got?
What you got, Tashana?
You're on mute.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I would say that that's where I would come in and say that that's exactly where my battle begins, where the separation is between the old that because sometimes the elders can get mixed in with the elders. uh,
Mhm.
which is for me. And for him to say that when I saw his video, I was like, I don't know how you separate the two because everybody to us was called your elders. If you understand what I'm saying. And so then it come a time in life like you grow up and you figure out it's like, wait a minute. I gotta respect all of them, and then knowing as you're an adult, you still remember the things from your childhood, but then the confusion comes in. Is like I still have to respect them in that way, even though they disrespected me in this way. So I like that he broke he differentiated the two for me, which is one of the things I was gonna say something about when I came on here.
And I want to chime in. You're right. You can't listen to every elder because every elder don't have knowledge. Every elder is not filled with the same thing because we have different life experiences. And when it comes to young people correcting an elder, first of all, you have to remember if you're going to try to correct an elder, you have to make sure that that elder is someone that is a vessel with peace. Like that young man was talking about, he was talking about they're a vessel of wellness. So if you're approaching an elder without peace or wellness within, and it's displaying that to the world or showing that in their actions, then that's not an elder to approach because you're going to get a bad response. You're going to get a negative response from that person. See, so if a younger person wants to correct an elder, make sure you select who that elder is that you're going to try to give advice to or correction to, right? And your
Right.
approach is very important. And with anybody you're trying to correct, you need to correct them with love and care and respectfulness, whether they be young or old. So that goes both ways. You see, it's for the older person and for the younger person. If you're going to correct them, do it lovingly, is what I'm trying to say. Okay?
It's not what you do, it's how you do it, right? And
Exactly.
if you
Right.
Timing.
lead with respect, so you have the older generation that should, and that typically, in the natural order of things, has learned the value of respect and the
Yes.
ability to do so. Um, the younger generation has to be taught that, along with, of
Hmm.
course, living life, but they're going to be taught that by following an example, right? And so a lot of times, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So if a younger person is trying to, or with love, like you said, leading with love and respect, and they're attempting to correct, because all of us are imperfect at the end of the day. Just because you are an elder does not make you automatically right. It doesn't make you automatically just, and it doesn't make you automatically the say all be all just because of your tenure and your age, right? And
Right.
there's more that goes with that. Like he was saying, there's a distinction between older and elder, and I learned something new because I never heard it quite put that way. But leading with respect, because when you go to someone and they can see that you're leading with love, care, and you're actually looking out authenticity and looking out for their well-being, there
Mhm.
it's going to be received in that fashion, typically speaking, unless,
Mhm.
and this leads me to the next point that I kind of want to bring up, is that I think one of the issues that we have is that people are so easily offended now. You can't really say nothing to nobody, without them taking it personal, or without them becoming easily offended, to the point where now they're thinking to respond and react instead of understand, which leads and breeds communication, right? And so
Mhm.
that communication is the vehicle that we absolutely need in order to
Mhm.
bridge the gap between the generations and gain some common ground and understanding.
Mhm. It's a such thing
Okay.
as an old fool. I want to put that in there. So we
Okay.
just
Right.
make that,
Right.
let's simplify all of that. Is a such thing as an old fool. So everybody, just because you old don't mean that you have sense. You don't have common sense. And most of the times you'll be able to know it, young people, by looking at their life example, the person, the older person that you want to try to bring correction to, or to question about anything. So if they're old fool, keep it moving because you ain't getting nowhere. Go ahead, Miss Tashana. I'm finished with that piece. Yeah, I'm just breaking it down. I'm gonna break this thing down where we all can understand what's going on. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
because I was about to get into because I like scenarios, because sometimes we can be talking about things in generalization, and yes, it sounds really good to you do it all in respect, but I know that there are situations that come up that can be a lot tougher than just that, and especially in the
Oh, you breaking up.
I think she froze. Oh, it
Um,
was getting good.
yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Keep going.
okay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
especially in the black community, everything ain't so hard. So I kind of though I'm in agreement with everything, because I always, with everything that I say, and whenever I'm talking to somebody, I always start with, the best thing to start out is with respect. But we all know that sometimes, even when you showing up, and it can be a person on the outside, but I'm we mostly around like our families and stuff. And when you're dealing with somebody that's in your family, that's an elder, and everybody is doing like the whispering behind their ears, but maybe you're the young person that's in the room, and they whispering, you can hear everybody talking about them, right? But nobody wants to be the one to say nothing. But if you're the younger person and you're willing to say it, and not in a nasty way, because I want to maintain, I want to have the conversation, but we talking about in respect. But I want to go deep into some things that are issues, if the young person sitting in the room is willing to say it, everybody else whispering around them, but nobody's willing to tell this person that's been moving this way for a long time. But the young person in the room is willing to tell them, not in disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
but to say something nobody else is willing to say in the room. How does that work?
It works easily. It worked easily. What the young person need to do is make sure, first of all, that the room is cleared out. Make sure no one is around when they want to speak with that elder. Make sure when
Mhm.
they ask them, make sure the elder is in the right state of mind. Because a lot of times, young people need to understand, elderly people deal with a lot of things mentally as well and emotionally. Most of the time, the elders that you're going to speak to or try to correct, they've lost their parents. They may have
Mhm.
lost siblings. They may have lost a husband. It may be a time when you want to correct young person, that older person, that they may be in a state of mind where they're thinking about those things and feeling in a state of depression or loneliness, or I'm only here by myself. And you gonna come and try to correct me, little whippersnapper, all the things that I don't been through. So you really have to pick your timing when you're gonna talk to an elder. So the suggestion would be make sure that that person would clear the room out, speak with that elder respectfully, pick a time and a place where the elder agree and that person agree, and they go sit up beneath a tree and just talk it out respectfully. That's the way to handle that, in my opinion.
And in that area, that was one of the things that I wrote in my mental note, considering the mental stability. But
Mm-hmm.
let me dig a little bit more into what I'm talking about. if this person has been set in their ways for a long time, but everybody in the family is ignoring that they do this, but like you got a young person that's been watching it happen and you know it's wrong, all the other elderly people are talking about it, but like maybe say they're like the oldest, one that's there, nobody's willing to tell them that, like, no, you shouldn't do it like that, or you shouldn't talk to people in that way, or you shouldn't be so nasty to somebody. I'm talking about, it's been going on for a long time. Everybody in the family talking about it. Absolutely consider the mental stability of the person. I'm not talking about a person. I'm talking about a elderly person that's still in that. We got some real good ones, some whippers that are.
I understand what you're saying. I get the point.
Right.
That person could be in the right mind and all of that. But if that person been doing it all this time, let them be. There's no need for you to try to correct something, because when a person have a made up mind, I don't care who you are. They're going to believe what they want to believe. They're going to stand on what they want to stand on. They're going to be stubborn. They're going to be all kinds of things. And you might get a problem with them. Leave them alone. Let them be. Let them be.
What if they're dependent on you?
Pardon me?
What if they're depending on you to be the one to do everything that they need you to do?
Just remember the good times. Remember the good times and do right. If you right all by yourself. I worked in a nursing home for many years as a nursing assistant and dealt with a whole lot of elderly people with bad attitudes and stuff, and you were doing things for them. But you respect them either way. Let them cuss you out. It's okay. You don't fight fire with an elderly person. Let them say what they want to say. This too shall pass. It is what it is. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't retrain nobody. You can't make people see the way you see things. Your right might not be that right. Why argue that? Let it go. Sometimes people don't know when to let things go and just agree to disagree and walk in peace. If it means walking away or just dealing with it for a few hours or however long you have to do it. You did? That's my point.
Let me just add something here. So when you speak of being specific and not always just kind of putting out generalizations, my mother had a long-term illness, and me and my mother were alike in a lot of areas, but she has transitioned, but we were also we bumped heads in some aspects and beliefs. Especially once I became like a mother myself, right? And when she became ill and she depended upon me, that was probably one of the most challenging obstacles or parts of my journey that I had to endure, and I had to learn, because at first I would pop off, and I went through with my father but his illness, it was fast. It wasn't as long as hers. So by the time we caught up and adjusted and dealt with his illness, we were preparing to put him to rest. But with her, it was different, right? And so I had to adjust to that. And let me tell you, it took a while for me not to take things personal. And that's what I wanted to get to, because when Miss Yo was saying, when people are dealing with their own mortality, and when you get older, you start really having to face mortality, whether you want to or not, that can be very overwhelming for some people, right? Or a lot, because we've never been there before. It's just part of that journey. And then looking at it from my perspective too, I was looking at my mom like, this may be me one day. I have children. And thank goodness that we were able to put our differences to the side and come together come together, because she needed me. I needed her. I wanted to be there for her while she was going through, right? To be comfortable. I wanted her because it gave me peace. And so, not saying that journey was smooth. And there were times she would say things and whether she remembered them or not, they would cut me to my core. And I'd be like, how can a parent say such a thing to their daughter? But it comes from a place of it came from a place of pain and fear, because of what I couldn't imagine what she was going through emotionally, mentally, psychologically, looking at her, what remained of her family. and coming to terms with the fact that, you know, her time was limited at some point in the natural order of things. So for me, it worked out when I was able to kind of detach and not take things personal and just look at the relationship for what it was and say, this is who she is today, and I love her anyway. But as long as it didn't directly hurt me long term or affect me, my well-being, my health, all of that, then it you know, it was kind of, I picked my battles. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just wanted to kind of put that in there as a personal example.
I'm taking a lot of deep breaths over here.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying, Mr. Keeman, because I had to, you know, do take care of my father. And see, another thing we have to understand, when people get older, they do have a lot of insecurities. They are scared, but it's not too many proud people. And we talk about family. We talk about our Black families now. It's going to be like a needle in a haystack to find anyone in the Black family to say or to show that vulnerability at times when they have somebody else taking care of them. We too proudful. We proudful people, you see. And so sometimes they have a way of acting out, which is normally grumpy. You know, they be grumpy and they mean to you, but they don't mean that. Really, they don't. And then, you know, like I said, we just need to move past that and just realize that it is what it is. Don't, you know, just let them be. You know, the last days that they have here, you know, that's how I see it. It's not worth it. Okay. What you think, Tashana? I mean, well, you know, what you think?
You know, I'm trying to, and I totally get where you all coming on, and I'm not trying to be difficult at all, but this is literally how I have come. I be sitting in the room with people like steady asking questions, and I think it's because I'm not giving a specific story or whatever, you know, but just to be fair, let me just say it's like, so say you're in certain situations where am I sounding okay right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. In certain situations, you know that somebody they know they're in knowing. It's almost like a narcissist type situation, right? But the people that are talking to me, it's almost like they don't know that they have an option, right? They want you, the family member wants you to be the person to do everything for me. They're picking and choosing you, but you're there in the room and in the space willing to do the work and help them out. But they still feel entitled that they get to speak to you and talk to you and give you kinds of demands. And what I guess I'm looking for is like more solutions, because some people don't, it's so ingrained in you, and I'm speaking about myself when I say that it's so ingrained in you, in some people, that you don't know that it's okay sometimes for you to walk away. You still stay in the room, and because you know, in the Black community, we have a lot of us that say it doesn't matter how they talk to you or what they do to you and everything. And I'm talking about in the right state of mind they are in. You know, they just been moving this way forever, and nobody is willing to say anything to them. But you're still being drilled on, oh, they your family, you do it anyways. And I guess from where I'm coming from, I can't necessarily see it like the way I can understand what you're saying perfectly fine. You and Mr. Kimmy both. I can understand it, but still, I can't deny that the question pops in my head is like, if I'm standing in that position at that time, and I'm not talking about, so don't nobody get it twisted that I'm thinking you do something to an elderly person, but I do believe that if you're in a situation and they speak to you different kinds of ways, I think that there's times you can go in and do what you need to do and walk away from them, when used to you're trying to defend yourself or something in that situation. You can walk away from them. You can have other people like switch up with you, but you know, sometimes in those situations, nope, you're willing to do the work, but they other people volunteer a little bit, but you're the one willing to do it. But it's not, you're not necessarily who they want
I get it. I get it,
You
Tashana.
know,
Listen. I get exactly what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I can remember being in that situation with my father. It was me. I moved. Packed up myself for 3 months and moved in with my father to take care of my father when he was diagnosed with lung cancer. I have
mhm,
other siblings, mind you, but I was
right,
the one. The other siblings were not doing that. It was me. So, and I had a husband and 2 children. But my thing was this: I'm going to do right if I'm right all by myself. Although my father wasn't always pleasant to help or deal with, he was not. But I understood that was my father. I
right.
understood that. And if he decided he wanted to be, if he was in a bad mood, well, he was facing death. He was in stage 4 cancer. So he could talk to me any kind of way he want to. That's his right. That's his right. And if I didn't want to do it, I could have called an agency, a nursing agency to take care of my father. My father had great insurance, but that was my father. So it depends on the person that's doing the caregiving for the elderly person. If you cannot take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Get out the kitchen. Period. That's all
Yep,
I'm
I
saying.
believe.
That's it.
Right.
And that's all. Yeah. That's how
Do
I
you have
feel.
an option to walk away, Tashana? Or like the situation that you're speaking of, is that a possibility?
Oh, Miss, is I have been in that situation before, and I did learn to walk away because my feelings, and I was being further harmed, and just like Miss Yo thoughts, um when when it got to that place for me and I knew what was happening, I did have to walk away from it, and then and cried all the way doing it. But right now it's like I'm literally asking these questions. I've been there and done it, and I'm still doing it right now. I have my ups and downs in it. I'm still in it, but I also know that there's a correct response to some of these things. And I'm more so asking the questions because there's people in here who I talk to and I just like them to hear.
Yes.
I'm asking the
Right.
hard
Yes.
things so
Okay.
that they
Yes.
can hear a response from somebody else who you
Hmm.
know that
Yes.
I respect
Yeah.
their opinions and everything.
And
So
I wanted to say this too. And if you could take a break for the people that need to know this, if you're taking care of somebody that's doing that to you or speaking to you in a way that is causing you harm or problem or making you feel a certain way, always remember to do your part in something. Do what you can for that person. And if you need to take a break from that person, do so. Then, because seldom visitors make the best of friends. Maybe if that person that you're taking care of, you go missing in action for 2 or 3 hours, hire a nursing assistant to come over and take that while you going over there having a good walk on the beach and getting your peace of mind together. Because you sometimes have to walk away. Then they will realize what that they need you a little bit more.
and
And
there it goes.
And I
you
did
did.
that. I
See,
did that with my mother. I hired a nurse. It took me a while, but I hired a in-home care nurse to come in a couple days out of the week
mm-hmm.
and interact. And then it gave my mother an opportunity to interact with other people outside of
Right.
myself. And
Yeah.
either she could appreciate what I did for her, or it would give her a reprieve from whatever possible tension she may have been feeling on her part. So there's definitely, I don't know why it comes to mind, but when Miss Yost thought said move around, and
Yeah.
that can be applicable to anything, just learning how to navigate and move around for the betterment
Mm-hmm.
of the entire situation.
And then, I want to say one more thing with my grandmother, my mother's mother. Okay, when she got sick, all right, my mother
Mhm.
had, so it's my mama and my mama's sister. But my grandmother would not let my mother nor my aunt give her a bath, give her medicine, fix her food, or nothing. And here I am with 2 children and a husband living about 45 minutes away. I had to be the one after working, having my own business as well, raising 2 children and a husband. I had to make time to go over there to my grandmother's house to do all those things. Simply because not my mother and my aunt didn't want to do it. It's just my grandmother wouldn't allow them to do it. You see, so I had to do that. But do I regret it? Never. Not for 1 second.
Yeah.
Not for 1 second. And now, as an older woman, I feel privileged to know that she trusted me. I'm not the only granddaughter that she had. I'm not
Yes.
the only grandchild.
Yeah.
My grandmama had great nieces and stuff, but I was the one that she selected. So when I sit back and I think about these things, she was teaching me some stuff. And even when she passed away, I was the one that came over, but she passed away at home. They called me. I was the one that was in her room that washed her body and put her in her gown. And when the people came with the ambulance, I'm the one that put her in the body bag and zipped her up and fixed her so she can go out. You see? So you just have to realize what your relationship is with that person you're taking care of. How is your relationship? If it was bad in the beginning, will it get better as you continue to take care of them? How can you make that relationship better? Right? Sometimes you just have to pay attention to what's going on in that relationship, and just move accordingly. And most of all, make sure that you are sound in mind once you approach this, and approach it lovingly with the right intentions, and you will get what you want out of that piece of your lifetime spent with somebody else. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. All right. I think this is a good part to kind of pursue in the video. Let's just go to the next and see if we
Let's
can
go.
make it applicable to the conversation.
Just because someone is older, it doesn't make them an elder. Furthermore, it is important that we maintain some level of grace and understanding with our elders, because growing up in different time periods, sometimes the concerns change. An elder who was fighting for the right to vote would probably not even be interested in our conversations on podcasters. They'd be like, y'all going off on the passport, bros. Listen, I was trying to vote. Okay. Could I listen? And so, to that effect, it is important to understand that our elders have a different vantage point, but because their vantage point is different, it doesn't mean they need to be discarded. For elders as well, it is important that the elders understand that just because it is not of your experience or you don't understand it, it doesn't mean that it is invalid because you don't understand it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Does it
that was a
mean
powerful spot
that
right
it's
there.
invalid just because you can't relate or you don't understand it? Right? You were saying something to Shauna?
No, I was just saying that was a good space right there to stop in when they don't understand. Well, basically, when we don't understand one another, and we ain't willing to have the conversation and try to understand where we coming from versus slapping the other person's opinion down on the ground.
No, definitely. Definitely. Let's continue.
I was watching Iyanla Van Zant on The Breakfast Club, and she had an excellent demonstration rooted in, I just don't understand, and that is not of my experience. So, no heat, no judgment. So, I think that that particular perspective is necessary for an elder and perhaps even a younger, where you, just because you don't share the same exact concerns, it doesn't mean that their concerns are invalid, nor does it mean that you don't seek to understand. Wisdom comes by way of experience. And because there is two different experiences between the elder and the younger, that means there's two different wisdoms there. So it is important for us to know that there is a symbiotic, there's a reciprocal relationship between elder and younger, and respect should be present with both. So, y'all, while I'm in the car,
That was powerful. Everything he said right there was powerful for me.
Yeah.
First of all, there's that thing with leading with respect again, right? But he
Mhm.
said something. He said there's wisdom in the younger and the older. So just because, even though you accumulate wisdom with experience, and so the elders seem to have more of an advantage because they have both things up under their belt. Um, over the younger generation doesn't negate and doesn't mean that the younger generation does not have valuable wisdom.
Facts. And I believe this too. I want to say this. What we have to understand is there's we can learn from one another. But what we need to know how to do is to reason with one another, the young and the old, right? We have to make each other make sense because there's really nothing new under the sun. Although in the old days, or the elders have had a lot of experience with life, living life the hard way, doing things manually, the new generation have all this technology. But just think if technology was gone, the elderly person could bring to the table how we used to communicate by the trees and do different things that we did, pigeons and some more stuff. We can teach them. So we can all learn from one another, and it would behoove the younger person to pay attention to the older people. Because if technology or anything else failed them, the grocery stores not being able to know how to grow your own food and stuff like that, they'll have something to fall back on. So, in other words, you young people have something to fall back on if you pay attention to the elder, and the elders, if you pay attention, you'll have something to look forward to fall forward to for the future. See, that's what you call reasoning and equal balance with different situations. See, we need each other, in other words.
Yes.
We need each other. Because if I lose my sight, God forbid, and I can't see, I might need an elder person to guide me. But the thing is, who do you trust to guide you, old person? Young person, who do you trust to guide you? So when you want to correct the elder, make sure that's the elder that you want to be able to get your information from. Then you will have no choice but to come to them humbly, lovingly, and respectfully, and vice versa, old person.
That's a great point.
Okay, that's what I want to say. Pause. Mute.
And I, okay. Listen, I'm like the Brad in the room right now. You know, y'all. I'm like the baby sister that always got a question and everything. And I like to keep stating, because to the conversations that we have, it's according to where you come from. See, if in my life I got a lot of questions for you, it wouldn't. Some people may view I'm giving like pushback to somebody, but I'm not. I come from a different place than probably a lot of you. And what if in my life I only know two elderly people versus older people that actually poured something into me, and everything else that was around me was there to take something from me. So my view of the world is not exactly the way everybody else, and it wasn't just done from people speaking words. There were things that were being done, and then these people expect that later in life you grow up and then they still able to treat you in those ways, regardless of, because of course, yeah, you know that they've done some things wrong or whatever, and you still willing to show up in love and do those things for them, and you don't know that, or you don't feel like you have the option because you got somebody's telling you all the time this is what you have to do, but you also know this person's secrets and everything right there in front of you. And so it's like, I kind of have to talk from the way I lived in my life. I can't speak for anybody else, so it's harder for me to. I understand and I hear what you and Mr. Kimmy saying, because I show up in love and respect in everything that I do. But it's harder for me. I understand it, but it's harder for me to see it in those ways. And some of those elders, I think, instead of being quiet and allowing them to say whatever they say, sometimes I feel like they need to be told the truth. Especially when you have ones that they talk to you about the Bible and stuff all the time, but they don't carry no truth in them. If you understand what I'm saying, they'll throw it at you all day long, but you can't speak the truth to them or anything, or you're disrespectful.
I understand exactly what you're saying. You seem like you froze to Shonda a little bit. Yeah, I think she froze.
You
I'm
know,
There you
sorry, me
go.
and my I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
yeah, that's okay.
but
Yeah,
just trying to talk about it from in a different from a different aspect. I totally get, and I appreciate you all for the encouragement to stay, because regardless of whether we mad at those people or not, we do need to stay doing the right thing regardless of what those people, because you do have the option to get out. But I'm want to speak from the place of like that, make sure I'm
yeah, I
talking
understand.
from that place.
I understand what you're saying. Another thing too, when I said make sure that you're taken care of first before you try to take care of somebody else. So I'm talking about, so
That
if you're a caregiver for somebody, or you're doing something for somebody that's an elderly person, family member, whoever it is, and you feel like they're pulling on your spirit, making you feel some kind of way, again, get away from them. You yourself or whoever that person is might want to also go and see a counselor, speak to somebody, see a pastor, or some kind of clergy person. Get some type of mentor or somebody that's been through what you're going through. It's other resources, a number of resources that you can reach out to kind of like relieve that stress that you may be going through, and give you some professional advice on how to handle it. But in the
right.
everyday, basically walk away if you can, be respectful if you can, and do what you need to do to take care of your people. That's all I'm saying. So that's how I
Gotcha.
think it. But
you
yeah,
know, it also, I want to also emphasize the point that every situation is not a one size fits all. What may work for me may not work for someone else in their situation. Everybody is different. No two people are the same. So the reactions are going to be different. The tolerance is going to be different. The character of the people is going to differ. It's just going to be, it, unfortunately or fortunately, we just don't, we can give possible, like Miss Yo said, possible solutions, possible different methods you can do to get a different outcome, but you kind of have to figure that thing out by going through it. And just to me, there should be basic principles, because the only person that you can control is you. You can't control the outcome or
Right.
the response of another person. And a lot of times I used to get mad at me because I allow people to just handle me some type of way. And then because I had misplaced frustration and anger, I would in turn take it out on somebody else that probably didn't have anything to do with it. And so recognizing that and realizing that, guess what? The only person I'm responsible for at the end of the day is me. And how I respond to the situation is going to determine how it affects me. I can't be responsible for how it affects somebody else. And Michelle said something very important, which I also found out was very valuable. And I used to, because I was taught that it was selfish to think of you first. I thought I was taught and it wasn't intentionally taught to me, but that was the generational thing that just kept going, right? And it passed it to me. And then I suffered from it. And I had to figure that thing out and say, you know what? This is not working for me. How is it that everybody else comes before me? Even though just because, we're family, or because I love them, or because that's what I was taught to believe in. At the end of the day, who's there for me if I can't be there for myself? And I can't be no good to nobody else and not authentically if I'm suffering, or if I'm not at peace, or that place of wellness, or from coming from a good place. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Well, Miss Kimmy understands me better than I thought. Because she just said everything. She just spoke from the place of exactly what I'm saying. I was raised that I don't matter. Everybody else did. And when you coming from that place, and that's why I say when you put things into perspective, you may not be saying anything bad, but where you're coming from is very valid, because people coming from all different directions and everything. But what Mr. Kimmy said is exactly, that's where I'm coming from, a place where everybody else is so much more important. And then you forget yourself. And the next thing you up in the room and you're like, I can't believe that this is what life really is this. Like, just leave me alone while I'm over here hurting in the corner. but
And
I'm
you bring
still
your own
trying to
stuff
take care of
crazy.
everybody else.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what? I have to be transparent too, though. There was a time where I was a martyr because I would complain about how I was being treated, but then I wouldn't let nobody treat me differently. I would isolate
Me
or I
too.
would withdraw. And then I
Me
would get
too.
frustrated and irritated and angry at the end of the day. And I'd be like, well, they should know better. They should know how to treat me. All the things that I do for them, and this is how I'm treated. And now, and where do I fall in? And then you get to, that's where the narcissism can come in, because there's a distinction between self-care and being narcissistic. And so
Right.
there can be a fine line, and I had to learn that distinction and not
Mhm.
go swing all the way from one side of the pendulum to
To
the
the
other.
other. Mhm.
Mhm.
And family will take advantage of it. They're the first ones to do it. So we have to realize that now. Let's be real. Family is the first one that will take advantage of you and think that you're supposed to be doing them a favor because you're family. Not to get off the subject, because we're talking about should young people correct the elder. But I'm just saying. So let's just make sure we still stay where we're supposed to be going with that one. But at
Right.
the same time, the spirit will move you all over the place. But it's still kind of like go together. It
Yeah.
still can all
Yeah.
go together on what we're talking about. But yeah, and I go on mute.
Okay. Now, Tashana, any last thoughts on that particular cycle of conversation? Because there's just a couple more short videos that I want to, and this next one's going to be a very short clip because it was just a very good talking point that I thought was relevant, and it'll probably help tie the conversation more in together as well.
I think you just laid it all out on the table to sum my story right on up for me. We absolutely do. We
She's good at it.
absolutely, when we come from that place, we are sometimes we turn out we are turned into martyrs, and we don't know that we've done that to ourselves until we learn. So that's the place where I'm coming from. Sometimes you need to learn how to walk away from it and put yourself first. So
And
you closed it out good.
you can't accept anything from anybody else with a closed hand.
Right.
You can't close yourself off and then complain, because I've done it.
Get out
You know,
my diary, Miss Kimmy.
I know we
Get out of my
I'm
journal.
keeping it real today. I'm just
Yeah,
telling
she all up in my journal from day before yesterday.
you, look, I read yours and wrote mine, okay?
That's what I be saying. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about my own self. I just happened to hit on something you were going through. So yeah, that's
We're more interconnected than we realize.
yeah.
We really are. Okay, hold on one second, y'all. Let's see.
Kids on up. So we have to come to that sweet spot. I'm going to call it a sweet spot where we respect other people's opinions, respect the way that they have chosen to live out their lives, even if we don't agree. And I think that's hard for some people, sometimes in the older generations, Gen X and up, because something worked for us. We think it's supposed to work for the current generation. And that's just not true. Life has changed for them. The mindset is different. The challenges that they face is different. They don't have to be us. They don't have to do things the way that we did things. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but it's okay to respect it. So I would go to my godmother's house and I would spend hours at my godmother's house, hours just listening to her talk, listening to her tell me stories. I would ask questions, and sometimes we would be cleaning house. She would cook and we would eat together. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And I feel like today, part of the problem, like I said, is that younger people don't want to hear what older people say, is because older people are hanging on to some of the ways in which life worked for them, not realizing things are not the same. They're not the same for the current generation. There's a mental health crisis going on. And the reason we know it's going on more so is because we have the avenues of social media. If it weren't for social media, we wouldn't know collectively. We wouldn't have all of this data and information to be able to understand these things. Now, if you've been following me,
And that's a good place to stop, because I know I'm kind of working backwards here, but I feel like the social media age, the internet technology has shifted the world in a way that the elders, if you don't keep up, and even if you do keep up, you're still going to have your challenges because you weren't really in your youth during that era, and especially compared to the younger generations coming up and how dependent they are on their phones. We used to have encyclopedias and physical dictionaries and tangible books to take home in book bags. Now they've got laptops. Now they've got tablets. Now they have Chromebooks, cell phones. Everything is communicated through the touch of one palm device, but then you got access to the whole world through that one device, depending on what you're looking for. And I don't, sometimes I try to think about how when I was younger, if we like from that younger mindset during that my era, if we'd been introduced to those devices back then, how we would have responded. But I can't wrap my head around it because it wasn't meant for us at that time.
Right.
What you got on the topic, Tashana? What you got there?
Sorry. Well, one of the things that she said, one of the things that stuck out that she said to me was, she said you don't have to agree with everything, and that sometimes I can hear elderly people say something, and you know, I'm kind of like a debater at times, and so sometimes when I'm talking to the elderly people, it's like I'll ask questions and everything, but then I'll get to a point I'll be like, okay, this one I'm just gonna be quiet on this one right here. I'm not gonna say anything else. And two, I also understand that what I got from out of her video is back in the days that there are certain things that the elderly implemented upon us to actually save us from certain things that was happening back then. And so it's like they used those things to protect us, that even though we felt like they hurt us with it, if you understand what I'm saying. So in that aspect, because I go over our history.
They made tough choices. She froze again. Her phone.
It's on internet. No one be trying to get us.
There you go. Yeah.
But I don't think I lost my train of thinking.
They made tough choices. We talk about the elderly. They used to hide things from us, but they were protecting us. That's what you
right, protecting us, or doing, or even perhaps giving us spankings for things that they wouldn't necessarily spank us for today, but it was for the protection of us, because they knew that things a lot worse could happen to us out there. So those type of things like that, like we can talk about today, agree but not necessarily agree on them, but I can see it and go back into our history and know I can understand why they implement those types of things. So I'm differentiating between that type of stuff, but when she said that you don't have to agree on everything that they, it's true.
Right. We can agree to disagree. Young people don't have to correct you. Young people do not have to correct the old if they see something they don't like. They can simply move around. That's what I was saying in the beginning. We don't really have to do that, not unless they're a person that, like I said, approachable and living their life in a way that you respect them, and then you can do lovingly ask them questions or what have you. But yeah. What was that? I did not get to see. I have a confession to make. I did not get to see that last video that I was trying to get Miss Tashana. I never did see that one. The one that you gave me. I never had a chance to view
okay,
that.
So we want to go ahead and
yeah, because we going a little bit over, but I enjoy this conversation. I know everybody got stuff to do, because I know I got some stuff, but this is really a good conversation, and we have to talk about this maybe another time too.
Yes.
Well, to me, if she just play, if she just played a video, I think this video right here brings it full circle. Everything we just talked about.
That's the point. That's the point.
Right,
that's what
okay,
I said.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point. So we can wrap it on up, y'all. And I enjoy doing this. Let's go, Mr. Kimmy.
Gotcha.
My relationship now with my family, they're my biological family, and I wish them well. Here's the thing. I watched you do in, I think it was like a little clip, and they were talking about interracial dating.
Yes.
And you said, why would somebody stay where they're miserable?
Right.
That applies everywhere, Shannon. It just doesn't apply to that, especially in our community. We've been taught, take care of your family, make sure. Well, there are some families that deserve it. And there are some families that you have to say, listen, I'm so glad we had this time together. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's where I am with mine. I wish all of them the best, but that's what it is. So even as I sit here with you now, with all that's going on in Hollywood and all of the stuff I had to go through, I've already been through it with people that you call your family. Well,
So what comes to my mind, and I'm going to yield after that, is you teach people how to treat you. You just teach people how to treat you. And you do that. You don't have to always announce it. You can just do it through your actions and your behavior. If you're not returning phone calls, or you're doing to the point text messages, or when you go see a family member and you don't stay but a few minutes out of the event or the function that's going on at the family member's house, what she said is, I bid you well. I wish you well. I just don't, this is not a time where I need to be a part of that.
Right.
And it's okay. Whether they think it is or not, but once you teach them, and once your behavior consistently demonstrates that, they don't have nothing to do but respect it. They have to respect it, because again, you're the only one you got control over at the end of the day.
That's a
Right.
fact, and I just want to add this in. This is a real life story. I had an uncle. Well, he's still living actually, and he was one of my father's brothers. He didn't agree with the way that I was taking care of my father, simply because I was following my father's wishes to the letter. He wanted to alter my father's wishes on the way that his care was being taken. So he came to talk to me about it, thinking that he could persuade me to, tweak my father's care in the way that he chose for it to be. And I did not doing that. And back in my days, you didn't disrespect the elder. You did not go against elder wishes. You considered what they said, and you did what they said, right? But I stuck to my father's plan, and I did it exactly the way my father would have me do it. And my father was in sound mind, could speak for himself, and and say everything he wanted to say to the day he passed. So I had a conversation with my uncle. That's why I can tell young people how to approach an elder, because I've done that many a times with different people in my family that are elders. So I approached him and I spoke with him, and I told him that I was going to do what my father told me to do, to the letter. And I also told him that I felt like this was a good time for us to stop speaking until he could come to grasp for what I'm deciding to do for my father. And he said to me, well, he was my brother before he was your father. And I said, out of respect for that is the reason why I'm going to not speak to you and give you time to remember, not only was he your brother, but I'm his daughter. And we both love them. And I'm going to lovingly, not speak with you for a while. It'd like to kill them. He reached everybody in my family. Oh, why is she not calling me? Oh, she's really serious. I didn't mean no harm. You see? So sometimes you have to bow out. That's what I was saying, whether even it's a family, okay? And it's going to be okay, because unto this day right now, my uncle is still living. My uncle calls me every day and have nothing but love and respect for me. And we never had a cross word. See? Ever. In my I'll be 62 in August. My whole life.
You said you bowed out gracefully.
Yes.
But you announced it. You
have to do it.
You gave that expectation. So even though he called around and he was asking family members why,
yes,
he knew why, but he didn't know how to deal with that and handle that situation.
That never happened to him.
Standing on your square when you are 10 toes down for you.
Yes.
People don't have any choice but to concede to you if they want to deal with you on any level. And that's just, I mean, that's the way you're going to yield the results that you're seeking. And it may not take a minute. It may not be immediate, but that's where you got to stand firm, and you have to believe in yourself and believe in your decisions.
and stop being people pleasers. You can't please everybody all the time.
Say it.
We women have you know, especially, you know, the older people, women, we have a something about us that we try to please everybody. We're gonna make sure the children got enough to eat. We're gonna make sure the house clean. We're gonna make sure it's clean. And half of the time we running around looking like a monkey in the face, hair all over the head, and not taking care of ourselves. So what we need to do is put ourselves front and center, respect ourselves, stay in our feminine essence as a woman, know a woman's place, know what our roles are in this life, and move accordingly. Because if you go against the grain every single solitary time, you're going to be the one that suffer. And we are nurturers, woman. We are nurturers. That's why we feel the need to take care of the elderly people or our people in our family. See, it's innate inside of our spirit, right? But we must take care of ourselves, and we must stop. And for all these, I'm going to leave on this note right here. I don't care how old you are. Just because you're an elder don't mean you got a whole lot of sense. Young people, pay attention to who you're going to correct or approach when you call yourself correcting the elder, because you might get the wrong response, right? You know what I'm saying? And do it lovingly. Do it lovingly, right? That's what I'm saying. That's all I want to say. And so don't take advice from every old person, because everybody don't have all the senses. That's all I'm saying. Let's break that down. Because like you said, Mr. Kim, there's a whole lot of old fools on here running around this internet. You see them every day. And I wouldn't take the advice from them. I wouldn't go across the street with them. Okay,
Right.
all right, I'm finished with that one. Because I almost said that I might regret. Or might have to snap on a Negro. All right, let me put on pause.
Okay, and I would just like to say on closing, and this ended really well for me, is I would say, to answer the question, can elders receive corrections from the young people? And I would say, young people, yes, they can receive correction from us. And we just have to look at the correction that we're trying to bring. And all the time, correction doesn't have to be with words. Correction can be with walking away. You heard what Miss Yothau said. When you walked away, he got the message without her saying one thing. You can walk away and it can say a million words. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, you see me get back on here. You see me jump on here. I gotta say it. Silence is golden. Sometimes
it can be.
Ooh, boy, still a whipping. Okay.
No response is a response. I live by it because I would rather have you wondering and thinking than for me to remove all doubt by opening my mouth. There's a time and a place for it all, but you have to. I mean, to me, it's one of the biggest gifts is to be able to know when to just
shut it up.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up and shut it down.
One of these days, I'm gonna make it there where you ladies at. You know how to shut it up. You know, but I just begin to speak. So sometimes I have to. I told Miss Yothau. Sometimes I be going and going. So I have to say, hey, slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's like you know. But I'm learning. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah. That's all right, baby. This was a real good conversation, y'all. I enjoyed you, ladies. We're gonna have to do this again. I'm sure, boy. How long we said we gonna stay on here? Are we good? We good with the time, right, y'all?
Yeah,
I think we got the point across. And I think this was a real nice discussion, y'all. And I'm glad to be a part of it. Maybe we can do it again sometime, y'all.
Well,
have a good day, everybody. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for coming. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Mr. Kimi's channel. All right, y'all. I'm going, y'all. Peace, y'all. I'll talk to you ladies later. Drop me off.
See you later. And I just like to say thank you for all of my my high class gardeners for coming over to support me in the chat and everything. I really appreciate you all, and I appreciate you, Miss Kimmy, for having me over. I enjoyed the conversation, and any other time we ready to do it again.
We would definitely do it again. I just, I appreciate y'all. I know we kind of, wrapping things up and moving on with our day. And it's a wonderful thing, but I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. I'm hoping that we were able to provide some type of solutions for those within the earshot of the conversation and of the live stream. So definitely, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. It's still early. And I know you're going to get outside. You be making me, you and between you and Ms. Yo, y'all be having me going outside, even if it's just walking and looking around and smelling that the little mufflers going up and down the street is still outside. So I appreciate y'all, but thank you so much. And yeah, definitely. So you can drop yourself down whenever you're ready. If you know how to do that. If not, I can do it for you. You just let me know. She got it. All right. So I just wanted to go through and I see some new faces and I appreciate y'all being here. Definitely we got C Child in the house. I don't want to miss anybody, but if I do, I apologize. Let me go down a little bit. And okay, so we got Bolo, Miss Chicago is in the building. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you. Phoenix Rising came through. We got Jaga in the house. Amen, amen. Rachel Banks, thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for being active in the chat, for participating, having something to say. The word 9%, peace and light to you as well. I love that name, Miss Coffee. Aisha Tillman, thank you for your participation. You've had some great commentary and comments. We got Kelvin H. Callie Mommy 23, you made it. Yes, you did. Nana Nee is in the house. We got Shalisa, that's me. Damn D came through. We got Shauna B. Shout out to Damn D. Damn D doing his thing. All right, listen, we all taking notes from Damn D. Thank you for being such a great example and showing that work ethic, because you'll make people get up off of their derrieres to handle their business, right? So thank everybody for being here. If you came in and you didn't catch the beginning of the stream, the very beginning, we had a couple of technical difficulties, but we worked through it. And the word was going to get out one way or the other. So definitely watch the replay. For the ladies that were on the stream, they had their Cash Apps on their avatars. So feel free to bless them if the spirit moves you, right? I'm sure that they would appreciate it. So with that being said, I'm grateful for y'all. Thank you so much. If you haven't subbed up to the channel, please consider doing so. For those that are new, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Don't forget to turn on all of your notifications, because I do go live randomly, and sometimes I give notice and sometimes I don't give a lot. So it just, because I tend to go when it's spirit filled or when I'm moved to, right? So with that being said, I feel like I'm missing something, but if I am, charge it to my head and not my heart. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day. Like the ladies, I know they're going to get outside and make something move. I'm going to get outside and make something move too. So if you don't do anything else today, just go out and get some fresh air, get some of that vitamin D sun, smile, give somebody a hug, do a good deed unexpectedly for someone. You can pay it forward in a store. If you see somebody struggling, offer to help. If somebody needs help with their groceries, or if they look like they're just having a bad day, give them a kind word. It's free. It's free. And you know what? It'll be returned to you tenfold at some point. So I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.